It is Friday, June 12th, and this is Sundry Sports. Beginning with Cowboys Wire. Richard Sherman calls out Jerry Jones. Des Bryant defends Cowboys owner. And they've run this story a couple of times now, I think, but we'll click on it this time just to see. In a week where so many, from celebrities to CEOs, have come forward with formal statements and calls for change regarding racial inequality and social injustice in America, Cowboys owner Jerry Jones has remained uncharacteristically silent. That is precisely part of the problem, says San Francisco 49ers cornerback Richard Sherman. In an interview with the San Francisco Chronicle, Sherman expressed optimism at the growing movement within the NFL to address race, but the five-time Pro Bowler said he felt that team owners haven't been vocal enough about joining the conversation. He singled out Jones in particular. "It's not pulling them like it is the rest of the country," Sherman told the newspaper as per ESPN, "because if it was, then they'd speak. Jerry Jones especially has no problem speaking up any other time about anything else, but when it's such a serious issue and he could really make a huge impact on it with a few words, his silence speaks volumes." The Cowboys organization released a video statement late last week meant to be the first in a series that shares ongoing interactions between the team, players, and community leaders. Jones does not appear in the video, nor has he weighed in publicly about the recent instances of police violence that have shocked the nation, the resulting protests that have taken place in cities around the globe, or the subsequent conversations and outreach efforts that have begun to spring up. Jones's absence at a large protest in Austin over the weekend caught the attention of former Cowboys wide receiver Des Bryant. On Sunday, Bryant issued a tweet in which he wrote, "Somebody should have brought Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, and Jason Witten to this protest down in Austin. This is not a policy change, this is a heart change. And yeah, I said it." While Witten responded, "A heart? You really think that Jerry Jones needs to change his heart? Is Jerry Jones a racist slave owner?" While Witten responded via Twitter to his former teammate, Bryant's former employer still has not. Yet on Monday, the free agent receiver defended Jones to Sports Illustrated. "I know Jerry's heart. He's a compassionate person, and he's not a racist," Bryant said. "I have love for Mr. Jones. Almost everything I know about business, and of course I'm still learning, I learned from him. But I believe this is a time right now where Mr. Jones could learn some things too, to learn about the culture." The same goes, Bryant says, for Chief Operating Officer and Jerry's son, Stephen. "I've seen some of the other coaches and GMs from other teams start to reach out and even march," Bryant went on. "I think that will help those teams in the locker room and on the field for players to know that the boss is at least trying to understand." As for Witten, Bryant says he and the eventual Hall of Famer still have a close relationship. "I'd like to tell Whit what I'm telling you. He can't know what it's like being a black man walking into a restaurant and only feeling accepted because he's an athlete. I don't know that Whit can know that, or that Jerry or Stephen can know it. I want them to listen to us telling them that." That sounds like a personal problem. According to ESPN, Witten, now a member of the Raiders, has already met with police, religious, and business leaders in Las Vegas, looking for ways to improve relations in his new home city. Sherman said he has been encouraged by the discussions happening within his own team. San Francisco, of course, was the epicenter of controversy in 2016, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to hear about that. It is unclear what the Cowboys, either the players or the ownership, will do, or if the two sides will agree on a unified approach. But Bryant has a suggestion on how the team owner could endear himself to his players in the meantime. If Jerry participated in a protest, those guys in that locker room at the Star, knowing what he might be changing and might be sacrificing, would run through a brick wall for him, Bryant predicted. Don't make this about the team and making the team successful. It's not about the team. For now, though, Jones is inexplicably letting his silence do all the talking, and the message it's sending is leaving a bad taste in the mouths of fans and players who are looking for the outspoken owner to do what he normally does best, speak out. Don't speak for the fans. Don't speak for the fans, dude. Honestly, I think a lot of the perception of racism comes from self-perception, because it's how certain groups of people are raising their kids. If you perceive yourself as judged, then that's how you'll feel. If you perceive yourself as being belittled or people being negative, if you perceive yourself in a negative light, then that's how you'll feel that other people are seeing you. I'm just saying. I'm sure that's not all of it, because there are still, some people around. Even more so now that the pendulum has swung all the way back to where we're supposed to want to see color and judge for it. Just in this case, judge well instead of negatively. But that doesn't mean that it's all, that doesn't mean that it's all true. That doesn't mean that there is no self-perception involved, because I believe that there is. Cowboys news, Randy Gregory's Rocky Road, that was yesterday. The real McCoy, defensive tackle, provides solution Cowboys haven't tried yet. Proven talent. The Dallas Cowboys made some great signings during 2020 free agency, partly because they finally had some money to use. One of those moves was apparently to add a defensive tackle. SportsWire. Follow your favorite teams and discover the biggest stories first. Coaches know best. The top 25 college football teams ranked by the coaches. Cowboys news, Hall of Fame game versus Steelers in doubt. Dak, Emmett want end to qualified immunity. Okay. That's fine. I mean, that's one of the things that people can agree on, I'm pretty sure. Two of the Cowboys' biggest stars are lending their names in support of a bill aimed at ending a practice that shields police violence as blah, blah, blah. But if you're talking about the bill from the Democrats, that it does a lot more than that. Each point needs to be looked at and tweaked where necessary. For instance, I don't think that there should be a full-on ban of chokeholds, because when used correctly, they can be effective and are often, pretty sure, necessary. But yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be that a cop can do whatever they want and get away with it because they're a cop. I don't think it was supposed to be that way. It's just that, things can happen in a split-second decision. It's easy to make the wrong decision. And you shouldn't always be punished for that. It depends on the circumstances. But yeah, it should never be that cops can do whatever and just get away with it. No problem. SiriusXM. Listen at home. 4 months for free. Dontari Poe. Dallas Cowboys straw hat. Cowboys wide receiver Cole Beasley and wife welcome third child. Hey! I'm gonna have my third child too. Stashed away in year one, Cowboys out. Yeah, that's been there every day. Why didn't it say former Cowboys wide receiver? Well, anyway. Moving on. ESPN Daily. Good morning. If there were to be a movie about my life, Tory Barron, whoever the fuck you are, my character arc would probably peak in the summer of 1998. Don't get me wrong, I'm doing fine now, but that summer, I was thriving. My biggest concerns were whether I had fed my Tamagotchi, which Spice Girl was my spirit animal, posh or bust, and how many home runs were being tallied in the race between Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire. So when I say I'm ready to revisit the topic, you best believe I mean it. Here's your ESPN Daily. Listen up. The Great Home Run Chase of 1998. It's been 22 years since the great home run chase between Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa changed baseball forever. After the strike of 1994 threatened to turn off an entire generation to the game, the tape measure theatrics of McGwire and Sosa during the wild '98 season made fans fall in love with the national pastime again. The latest 30 for 30, Long Gone Summer, which premieres Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, ESPN, chronicles the chase between the two dueling sluggers and their vastly different approaches to making history. On today's episode of the ESPN Daily Podcast, Buster Olney reflects on what that summer meant for baseball and how the perception of it changed over the years as the full scope of baseball's steroid problem came to light. Weekend binge reads. Inside a CWS list June. It was 3:07 p.m. Central Time on Thursday, March 12th. That's when the news came down that shook the city of Omaha, Nebraska. While the rest of the world was busy reacting to the cancellation of postseason basketball less than a week before March Madness was supposed to have tipped off, the residents of Omaha, home to the College World Series, were focused on another portion of the NCAA's announcement, the part that read, as well as all remaining winter and spring NCAA championships. That addendum was a gut punch for a passionate subset of college sports fans who treat the CWS like a family reunion. Omaha has hosted the College World Series every year since 1950. Come hell or high water, the show has gone on. That is, until now. That's why, in my wildest dreams, I never thought we would be where we are today. If history has taught us anything, it's that for 70-plus years this event is going to happen come whatever. We have had heat waves, tornadoes, cold snaps. We had a 100-year flood just recently. It's always there, every June. It has been my entire life, like a member of the family. That's how it is for everyone here. So yes, there is a lot of emotion attached to this for so many. Catherine Morrissey, Executive Director of CWS of Omaha, Inc. There's immense emotion attached to this storied event, and there are also severe financial ramifications that accompany its absence. The economic loss for the city of Omaha is expected to be $70 million, but in the end it all comes back to the fans and the city's unique connection to the college baseball teams, fan bases, and locals. To say there will be a hole in the heart of the heartland over the next 2 weeks would be putting it mildly. Well, that just sucks. All of this sucks. Because it wasn't necessary. That's what makes it so much worse, because it really wasn't necessary. It was a huge overreaction. Mick Foley feels your pain. The toughest man in wrestling history, WWE Hall of Famer and first ever hardcore champion, Mick Foley has chronic pain. This shouldn't come as much of a surprise, considering the body slams, swallowing his own teeth during a match, getting tangled up in the rope so badly that most of his ear was ripped off, concussions, dislocated shoulders, bruised ribs, internal bleeding, a dislocated jaw, multiple punctures, and several damaged teeth he has endured. But Foley, who finds solace by watching the Hallmark Channel in his Christmas room, he has a Christmas room, considers himself to be someone who doesn't suffer from or manage chronic pain. He thrives despite it. So it's only fitting that Ryan Hawkinsmith, who had all 10 toes amputated after contracting bacterial meningitis, would turn to wrestling's GOAT understanding as he strives to navigate the pitfalls of living through quarantine with pain. Every day can be a struggle. Negativity is all around us, including from within. The choice I try to make every day is to go find the positive stuff. Go find it and be alive. Mick Foley. That's nice. Ex-Wake wide receiver to star on The Bachelor. Matt James will be the first black man to star in the role in show's history. Oh. It's that, of course. Things to care about. What college football players really think about returning. At this point, telling you that these are uncertain times would be like stating that water is wet. But while there's been constant discussion of how various leagues are planning to resume after their coronavirus-induced hiatus, panic-induced hiatus, there has been less discussion of how the athletes feel about their impending return, especially how collegiate athletes feel. College football teams are returning to campus for voluntary workouts with the goal of an on-time start to the 2020 season. But with their return has come a handful of positive coronavirus tests and a new series of questions about managing the virus with a large group of athletes used to being in close proximity to one another. So how do the players feel about practicing and playing without a vaccine in sight? Are they willing to play games in empty stadiums? And what happens if the season gets pushed further into 2021, either because of a delay at the beginning or a mid-season interruption? Could players physically handle 2 seasons in a calendar year? How would that affect preparation for the NFL draft? ESPN spoke to 73 college football players to find out. Hint: while most players don't like the idea of games without fans, they would do just about anything to take the field. See, that's the difference between football and baseball, apparently. Redrafting the NFL. A do-over. It's a concept that doesn't really get a lot of play in the sports world. Nope, in sports, all of our mistakes and shortcomings follow us until the end of time. Man, that sounded bleak. I should probably go outside today, but I digress. In this exercise, every single NFL franchise gets a complete do-over in building its roster. Every single player is a free agent. Salary caps don't matter. One of the worst defensive teams out there could drop a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year in the middle of its front. Even the worst team in the league has a chance to add a Super Bowl MVP at quarterback. Then again, maybe that last bit isn't so far-fetched. We hit reset on NFL contracts and released every player to the open market. Then we gave our NFL Nation reporters the GM job, allowing them to redraft the foundations for their teams. The results, including Deshaun Watson to the Giants and Russell Wilson to the Redskins, are pretty fascinating. That's not my bag. Things to watch. Taco from range. In an unexpected turn of events, it appears 7'5" Taco Fall has added a step-back 3 to his game. Somewhere out there, Ben Simmons is punching the air. You go, Taco. Okay. Overheard. Hopefully, someday down the line, people will recognize me not only for the way I approach the game of basketball, but the way I approach life as an African-American man. Okay, so hopefully somewhere down the line, you want people to remember you for the color of your skin. So smart. So progressive. Remember when? The North remembers. Saturday marks exactly 1 year since the Toronto Raptors won their first NBA title. If this anniversary serves as a somber reminder that we should have experienced an entire run of playoff basketball by now, I'm sorry. But truth be told, I was already dwelling on it, and you know what they say about misery-loving company. Insert Kawhi Leonard laugh here. Until next time, remember, you know what else was great about the summer of 1998? The release of the Disney Channel original movie Brink, aka the film that brought us the line, "Let's Blade, brah," and Brandy and Monica's iconic duet, "The Boy Is Mine." Team Pup and Suds for life, and that song still goes. Never saw it. This has been your ESPN Daily for Friday, June 12th, 2020. Yahoo Sports, read and react. Brought to you by Yahoo. College football's return takes big step forward. Statue of former Panthers owner is gone, and it's not coming back. Okay. I'm guessing this is about racism. Or perceived racism? Remembered racism? News helicopter stalks Tom Brady's secret Tampa workouts with special guest star Gronk. Clemson football players explain why they're leading campus protest. Golf returns with a significant leader at Colonial. The lead. Remembering the summer the homers flew. Morning, friends. Got some recommended viewing for you this weekend. Long Gone Summer. The story of the Souza McGuire home run chase of 1998. They were like something out of a fairy tale. Mighty warriors, wielding weapons capable of cracking the sky. One, a giant who seemed to step from mythology into the batter's box. The other, a born showman, always smiling, always celebrating both the game and himself. For one summer, Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa captured the attention of an entire nation. Baseball is a team game, but these two legends in the making turned it into a one-on-one showdown. They were masters of the home run, the greatest single play in all of sports. They finished the year with 70 and 66 home runs, obliterating the previous record. They did things we hadn't seen before and haven't seen since. They unified a nation and restored the reputation of a broken sport. It was too good to be true. It couldn't last, and it didn't. I sneezed, and now I yawned. I shouldn't have played it yet. Okay, where was I? Now we have the fairy tale and its sad epilogue in one neat package. Long Gone Summer, the latest doc fast-tracked by ESPN in the quarantine era, is a thorough, nostalgia-laden look at one of the most remarkable seasons in baseball history, and the price it exacted on the men who created it. If you weren't old enough to remember the McGwire-Sosa chase, it's impossible in an era of always-on social media to get across just how connected the country was that summer. Long Gone Summer does an outstanding job of getting this across, showing everyone from everyday bleacher bums right on up to David Letterman reacting with open-mouthed awe at the moonshots of McGwire and the sniper shots of Sosa. Even Karl Malone and Michael Jordan make cameos here, stopping by like Marvel characters contributing to the greater 30 for 30 cinematic universe. Baseball works best when viewed through the prism of nostalgia. You remember your first ball game with your parents, the first time you went on a date to a game, the first time you brought your kids. A baseball season is like a companion, something you can check in on as frequently as you like over the course of a summer, something that's always there for you from April to September. Long Gone Summer nails that nostalgia, from the title to a score by Jeff Tweedy that's so beautiful I want it as its own album. Long after 1998, McGwire eventually confessed to using performance-enhancing drugs. Sosa, implicated by association, has never admitted he was getting by on anything other than good hard work. As each new humiliation arrived for the once mighty duo, a corked bat controversy for Sosa, a congressional investigation, an ongoing snub from the Hall of Fame, their reputations crumbled just a little more. Those who want their pound of flesh are going to be a bit disappointed here. Baseball's players, then Commissioner Bud Selig, fans, media, nobody gets raked too badly or for too long. Instead, the primary focus here is, as the title suggests, on that one summer, on a title chase that seemed a little too good to be true, even if we didn't want to admit it at the time. Well, that's fucked up. Game plan. Oz. They're still fighting over Sammy Sosa's 60-second homer. Rohrbach. Here's where the NBA left off and what's yet to come. Busby. Poll. Majority of Americans now okay with NFL protests. I don't believe that. The kicker. As always, the Simpsons were right all along. Sure, we were all suspicious about McGwire and Sosa, but man, did you see how far they hit those dingers? Do you want to know the terrifying truth? Or do you want to see me hit dingers? Dingers! Ooh. Follow Yahoo Sports on social. Okay. That's all for today. Thank you for watching.